spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on our website, UUCTS.org, or we'd be happy to talk with you during the coffee hour. For those present with us in the building, we have connection cards near your handles if you choose to fill one out so that we can keep this message. Or you can send just an email to membership@UUCTS.org to get connected. There are also small cards in the same area for joys and sorrows that we do at the end of the service if you prefer to do it in writing. Reverend Kristina Spaude is leading our service today. Welcome in time of fascism. First piece of music.
The first piece of music is 1023 in the Teal hymnal, Building Bridges. As you're flipping to the page, I will play the melody for you. Then we will sing it once, all together in unison, same part. And then the next time we will be doing 3-part round. So you can join whichever part that you like. Probably back in Scout Camp, you remember how to go around.
Building bridges between our divisions. Reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, we reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of your voices and all of your visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
That's better. Yeah, okay. I am the Reverend Kristina Spaude, and we have adjusted our mic issue. I am a white woman, and I use she, her pronouns. I am tall with shoulder-length curly brown hair, parted on one side, with blue eyes. Our opening words this morning come from Arlen Goff. This is Thresholds. Thresholds. We cross them every day, from room to room, from outside to inside, and back again. From here to there, from anywhere to everywhere, from age to age. Each threshold offers an opportunity for change, for renewal, for transformation, from what we were and what we are to what we can be. In this hour and in this place, we cross a threshold from our day-to-day everydayness into space and time attuned to the other, to the sacred, to the holy, into an awareness of new life, pregnant with possibilities. How will we be renewed in this moment? How will we be changed by this hour? How will we be transformed through this gathering of beloved community? Come, you longing, thirsty souls. Come, let us worship together.
We light our chalice with these words from Sarah Eileen in the law. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all there is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames, we rise. Our next piece of music, Spirit of Light, number 1, 2, 3, and the Dragon.
This morning, in place of a story, we have a child dedication. Our ceremony this morning will be made of 3 parts: naming, dedication, and blessing. Today, we are welcoming a child into our community of faith and into the larger world. As faithful members and friends of this congregation, we are reminded of our responsibility to support family in all its various forms, and of our responsibility to teach our living faith to the young so that they may choose to live in faith with us. There is a responsive reading this morning. You can find it at the end of, way in the back of the gray hymnal, or the words will be projected onto the screen. We have molars growing in, so it's a really big morning today. The words are from number 715, Your Children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters and children of life's longing for itself. If you would repeat these words. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are set forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite and bends you with might that the arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. It is truly a delight to get to offer this ritual this morning, as this is one that dates all the way back to our Universalist ancestor John Murray in the late 1700s. Probably not this exact form, but same idea. We here do not offer baptisms. It's generally not a Unitarian Universalist ritual, but instead we offer child dedications, where the family and the community promise to make themselves available to the growth of the child. Lizzie, Jackie, and Charlie, if you would come forward. Naming signifies that each child is a unique being whose name is a powerful symbol of the individual life they will offer to the world. By declaring a child's name, we endeavor to respect their inherent worth and dignity and give them the freedom to grow. In our act of naming, we ask the parents and caregivers to speak the name of this child. It is said that the sweetest sound one can hear is one's name being called. So after this child's name is announced, I invite the congregation to repeat the child's name in unison. Charlie Wilson. In our dedication ceremony, we charge parents to give their child every opportunity for a fulfilling life. It's a good day. Our charge to caregivers like godparents, grandparents, and other family by blood and by choice is to assist the parents and the child by being present for them in their times of need and of joy. Our charge to the congregation is to open your arms to welcome this child and their family. Will you now, Jackie and Lizzie, renew your commitment to love and nourish this child? Will you turn to your family, friends, and this congregation to ask that we join you in this joyous responsibility? Please respond, we will.
We will.
In this ceremony of blessing, we use symbols of earth, air, fire, and water. We bless you with earth, symbol of the common source of humanity and all beginnings. See if we can get some of this on here. Can I have your hand just for a second? I'm gonna bless you.
I love that.
Okay, yeah, just don't eat it. We bless you with earth, symbol of the common source of humanity and of beginnings. Play well with and on the earth with joy. Move gently on the earth. Be well rooted in yourself, in your family, in your community, and in the soil of this planet. I think there's a leaf in there, that's why it's so big. We bless you with air. Where'd it go? A feather. I'm gonna bless you with air. Yeah. Symbol of openness and of potential, symbol of conflict that we will all face in our journeys. May the winds of the sky be companions to you, reminding you of wide open possibilities of life. May you learn to manage your conflicts rather than have them manage you. May you always breathe the air of freedom. We bless you with fire. Symbol of passion and the heat of creation. May the warmth of fire bring you the warmth of love. May it bring you passion for living, and may you find your passion in life and love, however you practice it in your life. And we bless you finally with water, symbol of love and healing. Hey, baby. we'll not play with that here. May your thoughts and feelings be clear and available to you. When you are hurt or feeling sad, may you find friends nearby or feel the freedom to seek them out. May you feel your feelings to the depths of your ocean. May you know that you are always held in love. The congregation, if you will please read the unison congregational commitment on the screen. We receive you into this community and dedicate ourselves to you. Next slide. To nourish your growth in body and spirit, to provide examples of faithful living for you, and to support your spiritual development in the principles of our Unitarian Universalist faith. You are now a child of our community. We present this gift to you from our community. And I'll pick up the leaves. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. As a symbol of the beauty of your life to come. May your days unfold in beauty as the petals of a rose, and may the thorns you encounter serve to strengthen your sense of compassion and courage. May we seek each other in love, strive for earnest engagement, help each other on our spiritual path, and be there for one another. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Would you like a rose, Mama?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we will now sing the children to their programming with Jami and Anahis. And as we do so, we will sing hymn number 413 in the gray hymnal, Go Now in Peace. Everybody gets one.
May the lights of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the light of go now in peace. May the light of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
The purpose of our church is to encourage all who gather here to grow more generous in spirit and in action. We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support the self-supporting church and its many ministries. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. Our next piece of music is Circle Round for Freedom, number 155 in the gray hymnal.
I'll play through it, and then we will sing the melody line, which is in the middle of each score, and then we will sing it one additional time, and you may choose to sing another part.
Circle round. Circle round for freedom. Circle round for peace. For all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle
Been offering words before our moment of silence. These words today come from Rebecca Ann Parker. This is an adapted excerpt of her Choose to Bless the World. The choice to bless the world is more than an act of will, a moving forward into the world with the intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, a confession of surprise, a grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide. None of us alone can save the world. Together, that is another possibility waiting. We will now take a moment to hold a brief silence together to allow you to settle into yourselves and your seats, perhaps taking a few deep breaths deep into your belly. Our reading today comes from Terry Errett. This was delivered September 23rd, 2011. How Fascism Will Come. When fascism comes to America, it will be wrapped in the flag and carrying a cross. Those words are attributed to Sinclair Lewis. When fascism comes, it will greet us with a smile. It will get down on its knees to pray. It will praise Main Street and Wall Street. It will cheer for the home team. It will clap from the bleachers when the uninsured are left to die in the street. It will rally on the Washington Mall. It will raise monuments to its heroes and weep for them and place bouquets at their stone feet and trace with their fingers the names engraved on the granite wall and go on sending to die soldiers in the mountains of Afghanistan and in the deserts of Iraq. It will send doves to pick out the eyes of its enemies, having no hawks to spare. When fascism comes, it will sit down for tea with the governor of Texas. It will urinate in the mosques from California to Tennessee, chanting, "Wake up, America, the enemy is here." It will sing the anthems of corporatization, privatization, demonization, monopolization. It will be interviewed lovingly on talk radio. It'll have talking points and a Facebook page and a disdain for big words or hard consonants. It won't bother to read. It will shred all its books. It will lambast the teachers and outlaw the unions. When fascism comes, it will look good. It will have big hair, pressed nails, lapel pins. It will control all the channels. It will ride in on swift boats. It will sit on the Supreme Court. It will court us with fear. It will woo us with hope. When fascism comes, it will sell shares of itself on the stock market. It will get rich, then it will get obscenely rich, and then it will stop paying taxes. It will leave us in the dust. It will kick us on our butts. It won't have It won't have to break a sweat to fool us twice. It will be too big to fail. When fascism comes to America, it will enter on the winds of our silence and indifference and complacency. And on that day, 100,000 poets will gather. In bookstores and libraries, bars and cafes, in their houses and apartments, in schools and on street corners, they will gather in Albania, Bangladesh, Botswana, Bulgaria, Chile, China, Czech Republic, Finland, Guatemala, Hungary, Macedonia, Malawi, Qatar, crying, laughing, screaming. They will wrap the sad music of humanity in bits of word cloth and hang them like prayers on the tree of life.
Draw the circle wide. Draw the circle.
have been a student of history for a long time. Because of my interest in languages, specifically French and Russian, I have also been a student of their peoples, their cultures, politics, economics, histories. It was in part my long-term interest in Russian history that I chose to study the language. People sometimes asked why I was studying foreign countries when we have our own right here. I think if I had been exposed to the likes of Howard Zinn earlier, I may have taken more interest. As it was, there was the important language connection, but also the fact that we can't experience everything ourselves. Sometimes we learn great lessons from others instead of our own experiences. And so I've studied French history from the Gaul period to the early 2000s, from both an American and a French perspective, and Russia from Rus forward through American, French, and Russian perspectives. I have learned about the risings and fallings of empires, kingdoms, and democracies. I've studied World War II, especially in both of these countries, the markedly different ways each was a participant in the war, the way each suffered in the war, the way each helped create the world that we live in now. I've even studied in particular anti-Semitism in both countries and the anti-diversity trends and measures in both countries. I never realized that I might need to apply the hardest learnings to my life in this country, the supposed land of the free that once charged itself with making the world safe for democracy, which we are watching disappear with every passing month, with so many pieces of legislation, of judicial rulings, of bullying and manipulating by those who serve as elected or appointed officials, as well as by many in our own communities and perhaps families. Nation building has also needfully been a part of my studies, and it follows a standard playbook. One of the reasons why France and Russia, as well as the US, have gone through similar periods of identity creation, sculpted carefully and strategically. While these national identities have been used in conjunction with different forms of government, from democracies to authoritarian regimes, they have demonstrated carrying a great value and continue to be exploited. Some of the strategies are the same as those employed by those using fascist tactics to gain power today. In preparation for this service, I reviewed the Reverend Cecilia Kingman's amazing Berry Street essay delivered at our 2023 General Assembly, titled "My Little Pony Was Right, Fascisms Without and Within," along with her two respondents. Much of Reverend Kingman's lecture draws from Jason Stanley's book, How Fascism Works, The Politics of Us and Them, which she clearly credits, and her own lifelong interest in authoritarianism and other practices where one seeks to gain control over others. So I have read Stanley's book, and the other book that I read is Dr. Pamela Cooper White's The Psychology of Christian Nationalism. And to do this subject better justice, there will be at least one more part to this service, possibly two, because I now have a lot to say. So you'll have to come back and get more. While I'm sharing books, Bill McKibben's The Flag, the Cross, and the Station Wagon is a fantastic one through the lens of one person's experience about what he has witnessed and how things have changed so dramatically since 1970, with research to affirm or challenge his anecdotes. So going back to Jason Stanley, whose work makes clear how these tactics are used to undermine democracy and make fascism an alternative or replacement for it. Democracy is, unfortunately, an easy political system to exploit. And while Stanley draws examples from many sources, including the German Third Reich, Poland, Hungary, Russia, Myanmar, he also looks at both contemporary US politics and from our history including the Reconstruction era, which I know some of you have become familiarized or refamiliarized with from the works of Heather Cox Richardson. Stanley lists 10 tactics used for fascism and goes into detail and clarity around each of them, somewhat surprisingly, as these tactics can't be fully isolated from each other. They work in conjunction with each other, and as Kingman says, it's not that each one of these makes a politician or political movement fascist, but when these elements are present in number, so when there's multiples of them together, and especially when people are told that they are under an existential threat from the created other, then that's fascism. The 10 tactics are a mythic past, propaganda, anti-intellectualism, unreality, hierarchy, victimhood, law and order, sexual anxiety, Sodom and Gomorrah, which is how he terms the urban versus rural, and Arbeit macht frei. For each of these, reality doesn't have a role. What is true doesn't factor in. What we've seen this with, for example, Trump saying over and over that the 2020 election was stolen, even when Rudy Giuliani was just ordered to pay $148 million to election workers for defamation, and the Fox News Corps agreed to pay $787 million to Dominion Voting Systems for lying about the machines switching votes. So we build from here. The mythic past can be an unspecified or specified time in the past that was better, that appeals to certain groups of people, like white, cis, able-bodied people who feel like they're being persecuted because they're being told that they cannot have all of the equality, notably because that is not how equality works. It's a glorious past that has been lost, probably because of them, and gives a sense of nostalgia. Propaganda, of course, is a tool that everyone uses, but under fascism, its goal is specifically to divide. It digs in deep to us versus them, friends and enemies, with the enemies always being some other that is opposed to us and the nation. Anti-intellectualism is just like it sounds. It's the simplifying of ideas, even an oversimplifying of ideas. This is where book banning comes into play. Complexity is unwelcome and even viewed as a threat. One dominant perspective is all that is acceptable. We see this in the shutdown of learning about LGBTQ+ folks, BIPOC folks, that's Black, Indigenous, and people of color, and others. Unreality. This is the realm of the so-called alternative facts. People are trained to the idea that everyone is lying and that the lies don't matter. Democracy requires truth to function. This is also where conspiracy theories live and the belief that all viewpoints should have equal airing. Hierarchy is about the superiority and is a core element of fascism. White supremacy, male supremacy, able-bodied supremacy, heteronormativity are all forms of supremacy that convince some that they are better than others. This goes straight into victimhood. When people believe that they are superior, any threat to that sense of superiority and the privileges that come with it, as a result in a sense of victimhood, even when equality is the goal. The loss of superiority leads those who have been in power to feel victimized. Law and order. That is, law-abiding means loyalty to the dominant group. This element is a reinforcement of us versus them and has to do with a sense of legitimacy. We are law-abiding, they are criminals. We remember how Trump talked about immigrants and people in other countries in the 2016 election run-ups. Sexual anxiety is element 8. One message always conveyed is that women and children are under threat. Remember the abundant talk about those criminals who would rape women and the child sex trafficking rings? Not the actual child sex trafficking rings, but you know, the ones that like the Democrats were running in restaurants. This is also where queer/LGBTQ plus folks are again othered. They want to destroy our way of life. They are coming for our children. Sodom and Gomorrah. I feel very validated about having preached about Lot's wife in November. This point is where the urban-rural divide is expressed. Rural is synonymous with hard-working, people who use their hands to make a living, whereas inner city means Black and queer folks, Jews, immigrants, and others who fascists want to control or eliminate. And last, Stanley is a child of Holocaust survivors. Arbecht Meicht Frey, work shall make you free, was over the gates of Auschwitz. The narrative for immigrants, liberal college students, most marginalized people, and so on, is that they are too lazy to work, and those who don't work have no value, including the elderly and children. In this chapter, he talks about the ways that fascist ideology becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Through racism and incarceration and a weakened social safety net, those who are incarcerated are significantly impacted and unable to re-enter the workforce. This occurs in other structural systems as well. This point also tears into labor unions because they bring workers together along class lines, removing race, religion, and other charged dividing aspects of identity. It was important for me to take some time to at least bullet point these 10 elements as we see them not only in our national politics, but of course we live in Florida, so we see them here too, and in our county and local politics. But we also see them in our national UU conversations and in our congregations. These tactics have been so commonly used that they have seeped into our faith. I'm not going to get into the many tactics to try to resist these elements today. We'll see what next time brings, as it's a complicated and multi-pronged effort, and today I just don't have the time. But we do need to be aware of these elements and whether the conversations that we're having or listening to make use of these tactics. If so, we must be wary. When they happen within Unitarian Universalism, we must try to bring our dialogue partners back into right relationship with reality and our faith, along with us as individuals. I have been resistant to doing all learning on Christian nationalism and fascism and why it's so popular in the US right now. It's been really hard, but now that I'm in, of course, I'm all in. Certainly, this is not our first experience with this as a country, but it is certainly the first experience of in my lifetime on such a great magnitude. As someone who has beloveds who are queer, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, disabled, and otherwise marginalized, I have not wanted to have compassion for those who are causing such significant harm and distress. But I recognize its importance in this moment, especially in this time of presidential campaigning. So, while all the reading that I've done has been insightful, what I haven't seen much about is these deep spiritual issues that underlie this rising of fascism, and I want to explore that a little today. Thank you to my years of chaplaincy for help with this angle. So looking under the surface of what these 10 tactics are getting at and build on is first a sense of disconnect between the us and the them. Nationally, this looks like the rising number of Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, the seeming rising number of queer LGBTQ plus folks, the seeming rising number of disabled folks, the seeming rising number of all marginalized folks. Those who have been in places of privilege are seeing the world around them change, and that change feels like marginalization. That's important to name. While none of these tactics reflect reality, they tap into people's feelings and emotions. Those feelings and emotions create a sense of shared meaning among the in-group that is also created through their manipulation. That's one reason that Trump's campaigning has been so effective among certain kinds of people in certain areas of the country. Those who have been feeling angry, scared, distressed, powerless, or having like a loss of control, and so on, but they had nowhere to direct those feelings. He has also given them a sense of community by fostering a sense of belonging that might have been otherwise missing from their lives. Connecting to something larger than themselves. Trump's speeches and rallies are often irrational because they cut into feelings. Rationality will not, cannot matter when people are so deeply in their feelings. There's no reasoning out of feelings. These tactics are geared to generate response from those who are experiencing a sense of loss. Those who are under or unemployed, whose work has been displaced or devalued, those whose identity as men, for example, feel threatened by increasing gender equality. Oh, yeah. Those who are white feeling threatened by changing racial demographics, those who feel their religion, Christianity, is being threatened and persecuted, and so on. Those, despite the reality, those are feelings, and they are feelings of big loss. Big feelings about loss, because they are so often core to a person's sense of self and their self-identity. They are losses that are reflected in the ways the world is changing, and specifically how our nation is changing. The American empire is collapsing. Those who have been in power at the top of the hierarchy are no longer seeing as much of themselves in those places of power. As those in power become more diverse, there's a feeling of not recognizing oneself, of not being represented or being seen, both in the world and possibly as much in their own lives. We know that hurt people, and that hurting people hurt people. Beneath the anger and all that comes with it, many of these people are feeling deep sadnesses that they may not even be able to articulate. But they feel something familiar when certain candidates have rallies and address the media. They feel hope because the world there makes sense for them again. They understand that world. This month, we have been exploring the theme of liberating love, and as a people whose faith holds love at the center, we have to wonder what all of this means for us. How can we be the loving people we believe ourselves to be, while holding firm in our resistance to fascism and those who spread it? We will come back to these questions next time, but for now, think about the ways that you will choose to bless this world, how you will celebrate the world that we dream about as you use, and the children to whom we will leave it, and how we might be our best selves. What does love ask us to do? And will we take the hard road? We will reflect on these questions as we sing our closing hymn. In the Teal Hymnal, number 1014, the title has changed from Standing on the Side of Love to Answering the Call of Love. And while the choir is singing, I invite you to do your best to remember the changing of the words so that you sing them and not what is before you.
as we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning when love will not divide. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love, hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. We are answering the call of love.
Our closing words come from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith, "In the lore of ancient China, there is a story of a philosopher who was asked, 'Where is the road called hope?' He replied, 'It does not exist, but as people move upon it, it comes into being.' I invite you to continue moving forward on this path, this journey of liberating love with me."
Turn to stone. You say you want to be left alone. You say love only made you weep and moan. Let me tell you something that you know in your bones. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock.
Say that waiting for love takes too long. It dulls the sharp mind and it wakens the strong. When you make me right or you make me wrong. 'Cause love can make a mountain come tumbling down.
Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. Love is the water that wears down the rock. The river washes over every woman and man. Feet in the gravel and mud in your hands. Nothing can stand against love's command. Every boulder turns into a grain of sand. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the water that wears down the rock. Love is the power that won't be stopped. bears down the rock.